Hello, educators. Happy New Year to you. And I wish you all the best for 2021. I know 2020 was a little rough, but we've survived. We're here. And I just want to encourage you to look through, just think of 2021 as the time of refreshing. And we will do well. I chose this background deliberately because I want you to think of it as a time of refreshing. I want to say congratulations to 3 schools from 3 different islands, countries, if I should say, that are about to embark on utilizing the writing to respond process as a school-wide initiative. First of all, I want to say thank you very much for considering the use of the writing to respond process to cultivate a habit of writing in your students. I can guarantee you that if you utilize that process across disciplines consistently, you will see an improvement not just in writing but also in reading. Students are going to develop an appreciation for reading fiction and, most importantly, non-fiction. And their writing in response to what they read with text-based evidence is going to be phenomenal, because I've seen it. We've been using this process from 2009. We've published it in 2012, and we've had several schools that have utilized it school-wide. I want to say to you that I am here to support you. We have a lot more resources this year that we can utilize to support those of you who are embarking on that brave journey. I can guarantee you that you will not regret it, because people who have done it well have been very successful. I have individual students who are in college right now, and they're saying thank you so much for the writing to respond process. So guaranteed, if you utilize it well, you follow the instructions, you will see great results after 2 to 3 semesters. With consistent use across disciplines, you definitely will see results. So what I want to do today is to just recap, or to just help those of you who are beginning for the first time. I just want to go through the process with you so that you can just be encouraged. I will also invite you to join our group, Educators Encouraging Habitual Writing. If you join that group and you put your questions, whenever you have a struggle, you put your struggle in, you put also your triumphs. We can support each other. A few years ago, I had a group with 28 teachers on WhatsApp, and some of them were consistent in sharing, and others, of course, did not. But what I want to say, the difference between a class utilizing the writing to respond process and a school, once the principal is on board and your literacy coach knows the process, you must succeed. Every school where we have had at least 10 to 22 percentile growth, it has been in schools where principals supported the initiative. So if your principal has supported the initiative, I can guarantee you without a doubt that you will have good success. So first thing I want to say to you educators, those of you in Antigua, in Dominica, in the United States Virgin Islands, and some of you on the mainland, I want to say to you, first thing is to familiarize yourself with the process. Do not attempt to teach the process without familiarizing yourself with it. First thing you do is familiarize yourself with the process. We have an educator wheel that will help you. You go through your educator wheel. It teaches you what you should do on each step of the process. It tells you what to do before, what to do during, and what to do after. So do not begin unless you're comfortable with that. The next thing you're going to do is to select your reading material. You have different ways to select your reading material. You can select it based on your students' interests. You can based on their age or based on their grade level. You can also decide if you want to do on grade level or complex. It's up to you, but you make that decision and ensure that you're selecting your material with care. The next thing you want to do is to make sure you align it to your state standards. Which standards am I tackling? If you're utilizing the United States Common Core standards, we already have those standards in. If you have If you're from another country, for example, those of you in Dominica and Antigua, your standards would be different, but find the standards that align with each step of the process. And the next thing you want to do is to find the strategies you're going to use for during reading, before reading, after reading, during writing. What strategies am I going to be utilizing? Once you've done that, you want to begin your modeling process. So you need to model, and that's why I said you must familiarize yourself. So when you model, you do the I do first, of course. And then when you come to we do, you do it orally. Use the charts. We have charts because we have resources for every grade level. Use the charts to go ahead and begin the process orally so that students can be familiar before you can go ahead and start in the written process. We begin from kindergarten. Why? Because we want to develop critical thinking, problem-solving skills, and research skills. We cannot wait until high school to get that done. And that's what makes the writing to respond process successful, because we are teaching kindergartners to think critically. The next thing you want to do is to begin the process. So step one is to identify. What are we identifying? The title and the publication information. And on that phase, you want to make sure, why are we doing that? We are doing that because we want students to understand the importance of intellectual integrity. We want them to learn from an early age that you always cite your sources. So if they know that the book was written by such and such, then, and the title of the story, that's enough already for kindergartners. But you want them to know that because it's important. The next thing, at that point, and teachers usually ask, when do I teach vocabulary? At that point, you can start off all the things you usually do for storytelling, like your predictions, like what do you think the story is about, or what do you think that word means? If the text is complex and you know that there are words in there that's going to prevent comprehension, it is a good time to teach your vocabulary. Then you would have pulled all the vocabulary you know that your students would not know. And sometimes those words are not necessarily difficult. They're just cultural words that the kids are not familiar with. So you want to make sure that you pull that out. The next thing you want to do is to focus on your during reading strategies. What strategies are my students going to utilize during reading to make sure that they are understanding what they read? And so we have some during reading strategies that they can utilize. And then you want them to know the purpose. Why are you reading? You're reading because you are going to tell me the main points of the story. You're going to summarize. So you want to make sure that you keep all of that in perspective while your students are reading. Now remember, you would have modeled that already, so you hopefully when you get to the written portion, it's going to be very easy. And of course, with the writing to respond process, we have graphic organizers for every step of the process. For kindergarten, for 3 to 5, and also for 6 to 12. We have everything that you need to ensure that the students can follow without being a burden for you. The next phase is, or the next step is the reaction step. The reaction phase is the most critical. If you do not have the support, this is where children get reluctant, and this is where teachers give up, because it is the place where we are developing critical thinking. This is where the answer is not necessarily in the book, it's in the kids' heads. For example, do you think it was right for Jack to climb into the man's house and take his golden goose? Jack and the beanstalk, of course. All of those this is the place where the critical thinking comes in. This is also the place where we have social emotional responses. Students are going to tell you how they feel. You're asking them, how did you feel? How did the story make you feel? And we want to be able to teach students that there are feelings beyond happy and sad. There's excited, there's confused, there's confident. We want to be able to teach them all of the different other forms, other ways that they can express themselves. The reaction phase is also important because this is the place where kids develop problem-solving skills, research skills, and analytical writing skills. So it is really the big area. This is where you begin to ask your analysis questions. Your analysis questions for your daily writing, eventually you're going to use that to go into your narrative writing. You can use that to go move into also your informative writing. Your evaluative questions, like do you think, do you agree? This will go into your, eventually morph into your argumentative writing. And your synthesis responses, the problem solving ones, will lead into your research. It will lead into your synthesis writing. And of course, we want to also create that inquiry, that feeling of inquiry. Have kids ask questions. So the question, students are going to ask questions. Give them an opportunity to question the text. Once you've gotten through the entire process, and again, you're not doing that over 1 week. Writing to respond process is not a program. It is an approach, which means you never end it. It's in social studies, it's in science, it's in math, it's in everything that you teach in your school. You utilize the process. If a child, guarantee you, if a child experiences WTR once a day in every class, by the end of their 3rd semester, you do not have to tell them anything else. This habit has already been cultivated, and that's why we say writing to respond, cultivating a habit. We've seen it happen over the years. For those of you who do not know, writing to respond process started in 2009 in a 10th grade class and published in 2012, and we've utilized it in schools, and we have seen success. We have seen up till 22 percentile growth over 3 years span in performance in reading and writing. So guaranteed, as long as you're consistent, you will see those results. And once you've done that, and of course, what I'm going to do is every week I'll post another video on how you can best utilize the writing to respond process for teacher efficacy, for student improvement in student performance, and school success as well. So I will go ahead and do that. And if you will just ask me a question, so post it in, whether it's below this YouTube video or in the group Educators Encouraging Habitual Writing. If you put it in there, I will definitely respond to you. Share your challenges, share your triumphs, and let's do this together. I can guarantee you the same successes that elementary and secondary schools have gotten from this in the past, you too will experience it if you are consistent. So that's where we come to the portion of the routine. If your school decides that on Monday some science teacher is gonna teach that, and then Tuesday a social studies teacher, if you have that pattern, because if it's school-wide, you're guaranteed to get good success. So once you've developed that consistency, you've developed that routine, I want to assure you that you will see good results. So thank you for listening. Share this video with somebody else, and see you next time. Bye-bye.